So game 1 was against Alejandro, who has already appeared on the show a few times. I'm going to link his games if you want to watch him play Retribution in Spanish. He was playing Thyron 1 in Shadows of the Retribution and Gareth 1 in Defense of Bios. And so I figured I would drop Grissom, so in case he wanted to go for an assassination plan, I would have a longer assassination threat than Grissom and the Bomber, and so I would have to keep him honest, so to speak. Besides, I have advanced deployment with both my riders and the bear, so I could jam the middle of the table while setting up my shooting pieces, specifically Grisel and the Bomber, and perhaps in the slack a little bit. So what happened is I won the roll off. I chose to go first, so I took my opponent Alejandro took the other side. I mean I had the forest to protect his caster. So turn 1 I simply ran everything and kept Grisel and the Bomber on the slide in the middle of the table. I have the Riders and Valka on my right, and the Bears and Valka on the right, and the Riders on the middle of the table. Turn 1 again, he ran everything forward, making sure I couldn't charge with the Bears or shot anything important with the Grisel or the Bomber, or the Slug for that matter. So his turn 2, he managed to kill Valka and do some damage to the Bears, but not of consequence. But he did manage to clear some of the Thunderstone Raiders. On my next turn I tried to kill the Griffon with my bears, but I couldn't, even though I have gang and everything. And I used the riders to jump like much more deep into his lines. And then in his next turns he moved Thyron forward, but he kept it on the forest, and then fit it, and the Mage Hunter Assassin basically kill all the raiders and 20 damage to the Slug troll, and he scored 2 points on the rectangle zone that has the flag on it. He also used the only spear of Cyber he had remaining, because I have killed 2 on the previous turn with the Bomber. So it was my turn. I was right down in attrition, so I figured out I would go for the assassination. He had Thyron in the forest with a Warjack that he could Shitty Guard 2 and 2 focus. So and I was engaged with the Mage Hunter Assassin, so I needed to cast Dash with Grisel. That gives me parry, so I could move forward, be in range to shoot Thyron with a snipe. I wanted to be able to shoot in the first place because I was engaged with the assassin, and then boosted to hit the first shot. It hit. I needed an 11 because Thyron was on defense 19. No, sorry, in rat 6. So to hit a 19, I need a 13. So I hit Shield Guard and then did some damage, but it wasn't consequential. The important thing is that he had used his Shield Guard, boosted the second shot and also hit. That knocked Thyron down, did some damage, and then the third shot that hit, since Thyron was knocked down, that hit without needing boosting, and then again some damage. He used the focus with these 2 shots, and I think that in total I did like 6 or 7 damage. And then I shot with the Bomber, and the first shot of the Bomber left Thyron in 3 health. I was boosting damage, of course. and the second shot would have killed him automatically because second is armor 16. I was shooting for 16, so well, not automatically, I needed a 3 and with boosting, and boosting is minimum of a 3, so that killed him. And that was game 1. Funny thing is he scored 4 points because I didn't even bother to contest the zone of flag, so he was 4-0 in points, but I won because of the assassination. So game 2, I was on the same table as game 1 because we made 2 tables for 4 players, and it was a round robin kind of tournament. So I was going to play against Signar, and my opponent was playing either Striker 2 in Storm Division or Siege 1 in Gravediggers, and I figured that Siege 1 was going to crack my armor very hardly if I drop Ragnar. And that Striker 2 has like a very long assassination range, so I guess I would outrun him by playing Grizzle again. And once again I won the roll-off and chose the same side, mostly because I have already played there and I knew more or less how to move. Only at this time I deployed the bears in a more central position and the raiders more to my left. And again, turn 1 I ran with everything as much as possible, and staying outside charge ranges of his stuff. And his first turn he also ran forward and he assaulted with the Storm Knights, the Storm Blades, into the bears, but he failed to hit because I had a deflection up, so it was defense 14 against Frat 5. And he didn't have any Storm Gunners, so he couldn't do that trick of hitting once with Storm Gunner and then hitting with all the Storm Blades. So my second turn he had left the Ironclad in shooting range from the Bomber and Grizzle, so I shot everything at it and I destroyed it. And then the bears charged the Stormclad, but I failed to kill it. I think I did like 15 boxes total and only the movement. So yep. And then the riders just jam as much stuff as possible. Valka ran into the flag and Lanisa into the other flag, and she was on top of inside of the snow rift. Second turn, again he assaulted with the Stormblades. This time he actually hit a double 6 to hit Lanisa and killed her, and then did some damage to the select roll, but nothing of consequence. And then the Stormclad killed both bears, and Savio killed Valka because I should have engaged him with some raiders or positioned in a way that if he wanted to kill Valka, he should take some free strikes from the Northern Raider. So, and then he used Striker, he cast Velocity and just killed the remaining Northern Raider so he could score the flag. However, he was left without focus and with his back facing both Grizzle and the Bomber. There was the tower in between them, but I have an angle that I could move and shoot him. I had to like unjam my own models from the mill because I have the Govers and the Bear Handler that was still alive. So we did some measuring on my clock, and we both agreed that I have like a clear line of movement where I could shoot with Grizzle first and then with the Bomber if needed. but Grisel by herself just moved and shot Striker on the back, so it wasn't an easy hit on the first shot, and then just boosted all 3 damage rolls on her gun, and that was actually enough to kill Striker, and didn't even need to use the bomber. So that was another win on assassination, and we actually ended up scoring 0 points each. So it was just the assassination. And then on to game 3. This time it was against Kador. He had a Karchev with a bunch of jacks and Blood 2 in the Doom River thing, which I don't recall the name right now. And this time I figured that I needed to drop Ragnar because Grisel can't assassinate Karchev because he has just too much armor and boxes, so I would need like 2 turns to kill him, and I can't start attritioning his warjacks for the same reason. So if he dropped Karchev, I would need armor cracking, and I have that with Ragnar. And he dropped Blood, which was what happened. I would still have a good game with Ragnar. So again, I won the roll-off and I won first. So I have like a not ideal situation because I have a cloud that was on fire on the middle of my deployment zone, but I feel that Ragnar took a few turns on fire, and so I turned turn 2, I think. He was like all the time in the cloud, so taking like 1 to 5 damage each turn. So my deployment was right central. I have my beast to the left and the champions and the warriors to the right, and I have the Union Archon ready to camp the flag and the Felcaller as a backup for that, for supporting both units. So turn 1 I run forward everything, trying to stay out of charge range from his Doom Rivers, and I left the warders as a first line and the champions as a second line, and the Union Archon was just camping the flag and the beast just ran forward, and I left the airborne close to the water creature just in case he wanted to shoot with the Devastator. His first turn he did apparition with the Doom Rivers and position himself to be able to destroy my objective and have like multiple charge lanes into my warriors and champions depending on how I position it, and his jacks also move forward. So my second turn I ran with the warriors again to the middle of the table and champion in the second line, so he couldn't get to them with the Doom Rivers unless he wanted to take some free strikes from the warders. And the airborne ran to be within 2 of the warders. He was in charge range of the Kodiak, but not of the destroyer. So I feel that defense 14 and with the feed he wouldn't be able to kill me. And the Mauler was a little bit behind him, ready to support the airborne. And yes, I'm positioned with the Falconer to be ready to support the Union Archon, because I figured he would go for the objective, so the Falconer would be ready to kill Doom Rivers that came that way. So, and then in his second turn he fitted on the Doom Rivers. He managed to kill all the warders and the objective, but he couldn't do any damage to the Union Archon. And the Kodiak came for the L1 but didn't kill. So on my third turn I used my champions to kill the defeated the Doom Rivers, the one in front of me, and within the Felcaller killed the Dim Rivers that have destroyed the objective with the help of the Union Archon. And then I put Rage and Pulverizer on the Archon, and I threw the Kodiak into the Grey Lord that was on the flag, because at this point there was 2-0 down on scenario. And then the Archon charged and killed the Grey Lord Turnian unit. So on his third turn he came with the Kodiak and the Destroyer and killed the Archon, just barely. And he tried to kill the champions with the Void Archon, but within the Union Archon and Sanguine Bone he was only able to kill one, but he did teleport to contest the flag again. But it was he didn't have anything on his flag, so then that 2-1 or 3-1 I think. Yes, he won his. No, it's a 2-0 this turn. In his next turn he actually stole his flag, but I managed to kill the Void Archon again with my Dominion Archon, the Ragnarok shooting a spell and the full color, and then the Mauler again with Rage and Pulverizer crippled the cortex of the Kodiak and the axe arm from the Destroyer. So on his next turn he was unable to remove the Mauler, and we ended up 4-2 that turn on points. And then I think was my final turn, turn 5. The Mauler moved in, destroyed the objective again with Rage and Pulverizer, destroyed the objective, killed both Shacks with the help of the only Sorcerer champion that was there to provide the last point of damage. So I scored both the zone, my flag, and destroyed the objective. So that would mean 5-4 at the top of 5. And the only model remaining my opponent had was Vlad. So he couldn't score the flag because the Mauler was contesting, and if he moved in to kill the Airborne he wouldn't be face to face with the flag. So that was me winning on scenario with only 32 seconds left on the clock. So at the end of the day I won all 3 games. The Evolution player won 2 games because he won against Signar and Kador. The Kador player only won 1 game because he won against the Signar player, and the Signar player lost all 3 games. And that was the tournament.